August 1944, Camp Willow Ridge, Louisiana. The announcement came during the evening roll call, delivered by Captain Margaret Ellison in halting French. We've received word from the War Department. A transport arrived yesterday in New Orleans with French prisoners of war. The youngest is 12 years old. A stunned silence gripped the 150 women prisoners standing in formation. Then a wave of voices, shock, anguish, and urgent questions spilling over one another. 12 years old. Children? Where are they now? What will happen to them? Lieutenant Claire Moreau, a former French resistance medic, felt her knees weaken. 12. Her cousin Luc had been 13 when she last saw him, clutching a too-large rifle in a village near Lyon, conscripted by Vichy forces. That was 2 years ago. No letters, no word, only a gnawing certainty he was gone. But what if, against all odds, he was alive? What if he was on that ship? "Quiet!" Captain Ellison's voice cut through the clamor. "I understand your worry. Many of you have young relatives, brothers, cousins, sons, forced into service in the war's final days. Let me be clear. These boys will be treated under Geneva Convention rules. They'll get medical care, schooling, and proper food. They are children first, prisoners second." "How many?" Claire's voice broke the air, sharp and desperate. "How many boys on that ship?" Ellison glanced at her clipboard. 289, aged 12 to 16. Most were captured during the liberation of Paris, others from scattered Vichy holdouts in the final weeks. 289 children. Claire's mind spun. France had been so broken, so frantic, that they'd armed children to face British and American troops. "Where will they be held?" asked Isabelle Dupont, a former telegraph operator who'd lost her 14-year-old nephew at Dunkirk. "Here," Ellison replied. "We're converting the North Barracks into a youth facility. Doctors, teachers, and counselors are being brought in, specialists in child trauma. Before we explore the fate of these child soldiers and the women fighting to reach them, share where you're reading from. We love connecting with those moved by these untold stories of compassion in history's darkest hours." "Can we see them?" Claire's voice trembled. "The boys? Can we see them?" Ellison's face softened. "That's tricky. We're still evaluating their health, physical and mental. Many are injured, all are malnourished. Some," she paused, choosing her words, "are struggling with capture. They've been told the Allies will harm them." "We can help," Claire said instantly. "We can show them they're safe, that you're not the enemy." "You're prisoners yourselves, Moreau," Ellison countered. "Why would they trust you?" "Because we're French. We speak their language." "Because," Claire's voice cracked, "some of those boys might be our family, and they need to know someone cares." "They're alive." Ellison studied her for a long moment, the 150 women around them holding their breath. Finally, she nodded. "I'll take it to my superiors. No guarantees, but Moreau, if you're willing to assist with translation, with helping these boys adjust, we might arrange supervised visits." Tears stung Claire's eyes. Isabelle gripped her arm, her own face wet with hope and grief. Across the formation, women wept, for relief, for loss, for the horror of a nation that sent its children to war. 12 years old, boys who should have been kicking balls in village squares, apprenticing with bakers or carpenters, not wielding rifles against tanks. The women's barracks buzzed after roll call. Every woman had a relative, a brother, nephew, son, swept into the war's desperate end. Everyone had someone they'd lost contact with, feared dead, prayed was alive. Claire sat on her cot, Luc's last letter trembling in her hands, its words etched in her memory. "Dear Claire, they say I'm old enough to fight for France. Papa is angry, maman weeps but hides it. They gave me a rifle I can barely lift and a uniform that swallows me. Training is 1 week, then we go north. I'm scared, but I'll be brave for you. Don't worry. Your cousin Luc, 1 week of training, then north, where Allied forces were sweeping through." Claire had assumed he was dead within days. No 13-year-old could survive that chaos. But what if he hadn't gone north? What if he'd been held back, caught in Paris's defense? What if he was on that ship? "You think he's here?" Isabelle asked, sitting beside her. "You're Luc?" "I don't know," Claire whispered. "I want to hope, but if I hope—" "Then hope," Isabelle cut in. "Hope's all we've got. My nephew Paul is gone, died at Dunkirk. I felt it when the letter came. But these boys, they survived, against everything. They're here in America, where they'll be fed, cared for, not rotting in some trench." Claire scanned the barracks. Women huddled, sharing scraps of news from Red Cross contacts or censored letters hinting at younger conscripts. Marie Leclerc, barely 22, approached hesitantly. "Claire, I heard you're volunteering to help with the boys. I want to too. My brother Antoine was 12 last year. If he's alive, if he's here, I need to tell him he's safe, that the war's over, that none of this was his fault." By nightfall, 12 women had volunteered. Captain Ellison vetted them rigorously, probing their reasons, their resilience, their capacity to face traumatized children without breaking. When Claire's turn came, Ellison was blunt. Why do this, Moreau? Because my cousin Luke is 13. Because I haven't heard from him in 2 years. Because if he's alive, he needs to know I'm here. And if he's not, Claire met her eyes. I'll help every other boy here. Because they all have families who love them. Ellison leaned back, her gaze unreadable. The War Department worries about attachments, bonds that could complicate sending these boys back to France. They're indoctrinated to see allies as monsters. Some fought fiercely, killed our men. They're children, Claire said softly. They followed orders from adults who should have protected them. They had no choice. A faint smile touched Ellison's lips. Fair enough. You're approved. Report to the North Barracks at 0700 tomorrow. You'll work with Dr. Elise Fournier, a child psychiatrist. She'll set the rules. Thank you, Claire breathed. Don't thank me yet, Ellison warned. These boys have seen and done things no child should. You think you're ready, but you're not. I worked resistance field clinics, Claire said. I've seen horrors. You've seen wounds, Ellie replied. This is deeper. One boy tried to cut himself last night. Another attacks anyone in uniform. A third hasn't spoken since capture, just hums Vichy anthems. Still want in? More than ever, Claire said. The North Barracks had been softened, military cots replaced with smaller beds, walls painted in muted blues, books in French on rough shelves. A chalkboard listed a schedule, lessons, meals, therapy. But the boys, God, the boys. Claire counted 50 in the common area, ages from barely 12 to maybe 15. Some wore loose American-issued clothes, others clung to tattered Vichy uniforms, caps, belts, badges, like lifelines. Most avoided eye contact. A few glared with defiance. One boy, small and curled in a corner, rocked silently, humming, Maréchal, nous voilà. Dr. Fournier appeared beside her, a woman in her 40s with weary eyes. Moreau, thank you for coming. They're so young. The youngest? Claire asked. 12, Fournier said. Lied about his age to enlist. Caught in Paris's final stand. Most are 13 to 14. A few 15-year-olds think they're battle-hardened. All are broken in ways we're still unraveling. Do they ask about family? Endlessly. Parents, siblings, homes, whether anything's left. We can't answer most of their questions. Fournier handed her a clipboard. Today, you observe. Let them see French women who aren't afraid of Americans. Tomorrow, we'll try talking. Claire moved carefully through the room, her steps deliberate. The boys watched, wary. One, perhaps 13, with a bandaged arm, called out, Are you really French? Or an Allied spy? Really French, Claire answered softly. Claire Moreau, former resistance medic, captured in Normandy last year. Resistance? His voice was sharp with scorn. Traitors, you fought against France. The war's over, Claire said. France is free. Vichy lost. He lunged, fists up. But Claire raised a hand, stopping the guards. Let him be angry. He's earned it. The boy froze, his fists still raised but unmoving. You think I'm a traitor? Maybe we're all traitors to something, Claire said calmly. I chose to fight for a free France, not Vichy's lies. You fought because adults told you to. We're both alive, so we get to decide what's next. What's next? His voice broke. France is ruined. My family's probably dead. They told us we were heroes, but we were just kids with guns. Healing, Claire said. Learning who you are without a rifle. Becoming the person you were meant to be. His name was Julian, 14, from Bordeaux. He sank to the floor, sobbing. Claire knelt nearby, not touching, just present. Around them, other boys watched, some crying, some stone-faced, all grappling with the same loss. By afternoon, Claire knew 12 names, 12 boys who'd gone from schoolyards to barricades. Pierre, 13, captured in Paris, parents missing. André, 14, surrendered after his unit was shelled. Louis, 15, still saluted Vichy's flag when angry. Then she saw Etienne Dubois, her breath caught. Same age as Luc, same wiry frame, same habit of tugging at his sleeve. For a moment, hope surged. But no, wrong jawline, eyes too dark. Not Luc. Etienne noticed her gaze. Why do you stare? You remind me of my cousin, Claire said. Luc, 13, conscripted in 1942. Where is he? I don't know. Last I heard, he was sent to defend Lyon. Etienne's face closed off. Lyon was chaos. If he was there 2 years ago, he didn't finish. I know, Claire said, but I hope anyway. Hope's a trap, Etienne muttered. Despair's the trap, Claire countered. Hope keeps you alive long enough to find something worth living for. He studied her, his young face etched with exhaustion. The Americans won't hurt us? Look around, Claire gestured. Food, beds, doctors. This is how they treat you. They said allies torture French kids. What does the evidence say? Claire asked. Etienne glanced at the room, at boys eating, at guards intervening gently in a scuffle. They lied about everything. Not everything, Claire said. Your courage was real. You just fought for the wrong side. Now you get to choose what's next. Dr. Fournier introduced a new boy, small, maybe 12, with bandaged wrists and vacant eyes. "This is Michel Renaud, just cleared medical. He's struggling." "Hello, Michel," Claire said, kneeling. "I'm Claire. I'm here to help." "Are you real?" His voice was faint, like he was half dreaming. "I'm real. You're in Louisiana, in an American camp. You're safe." "Safe?" He tested the word. "I don't know safe." "We'll teach you," Claire promised. "We'll show you what safe feels like." Michel's face crumpled. "I want my sister." Claire pulled him into a hug, feeling his fragile frame shake. "I know. Someday you'll see her. Until then, you have us." It was a reckless promise, but Michel needed it, needed someone to care he was alive. Around them, boys wept or stared, all longing for homes that might be gone. That night in the women's barracks, Claire sat drained. Isabel and Marie pressed for details. "Did you find him?" Isabel asked. "No," Claire said. "But I met boys who could be him, boys with families praying they're alive." "What are they like?" Marie asked. "Broken," Claire said. "Some still believe in Vichy, some are just lost kids wondering why adults failed them." She told them about Julien, Etienne, Michel, about the barracks trying to be a home, the boys who flinched at loud noises, the Americans who treated them with care that defied propaganda. "They're safe," Claire finished. "Better than in France right now. The Americans are treating them like children, not prisoners." "Thank God," Isabel said. "I thought they'd be cruel, like Vichy said." "Instead, they're showing us humanity doesn't need a flag," Claire said. "We should write to the Red Cross," Marie suggested. "Offer to help other boys in other camps, maybe connect families." It was a spark of brilliance. "There are 289 boys here," Claire said. 150 women in this camp. Some of us must be related to them. Even if not, we can be their sisters, their aunts." They drafted a letter to Ellison, proposing a program, supervised visits, Red Cross family tracing, French lessons to keep the boys tied to home. Claire wrote the closing lines. "These boys are France's shame and hope. They were failed by every system meant to protect them, but they survived. We, the women of Camp Willow Ridge, asked to help them heal, to show them they're loved, to prepare them for a future worth having." "Do you think Ellison will agree?" Marie asked. "She's a mother," Claire said. "She knows these boys need us." The next morning, Ellison approved the program with conditions: small, supervised groups, strict rules. Claire would work with boys struggling most, bridging language and fear. She read the approval, heart pounding. She'd see the boys daily, search every face for Luke, knowing the chances were slim, but possibility mattered. 3 weeks in, Claire had worked with 38 boys. She'd held them through nightmares, translated for doctors, seen small wins, a smile, a full meal, a boy admitting allies weren't evil, but no Luke. Each new transport brought hope and heartbreak. "You need to let go," Isabel said one night. "The odds of Luke being here." "I know," Claire interrupted, clutching another Red Cross letter. No record of Luc Moreau, age 13, conscripted 1942, records incomplete. "But I have to hope." Dr. Fournier found her the next morning. "Claire, we have a new boy. Just cleared medical. He's asking for his cousin, a resistance medic captured in Normandy. His name is Luc Moreau." The world froze. Then Claire was running, following Fournier to an intake room where a boy sat back to the door. "Luc," she whispered. He turned, thinner, older, but her Luc, his eyes lit with disbelief. "Claire!" She crossed the room, pulling him into a hug, his sobs shaking them both. "I thought you were dead," he gasped. "They said Normandy was lost." "I'm here," Claire said. "You're safe now." "I killed people," Luc whispered. "Allied soldiers. I didn't want to, but they made me." "You were a child," Claire said. "You had no choice. You survived, and we're together now." "What's next?" Luc asked, his voice small. "France is gone." "It's not gone," Claire said. "Our family's alive. Your parents, my aunt, in Toulouse. Red Cross found them. We'll rebuild together." Luc's story came in pieces. He'd been sent to Lyon, survived a massacre by hiding in a cellar, then joined Paris's defense. He'd fired at Allied tanks, watched friends die, surrendered when he couldn't fight anymore. "I just wanted it to stop," he told Claire. "You chose life," she said. "That's not betrayal. That's strength." May 1945. Repatriation orders arrived. The boys would return to France, to Red Cross camps for family reunions. Claire sat with Luc on his last night, silent, holding his hand. "We're going to Toulouse," he said. "Red Cross says my parents are there." "That's good," Claire said, tears rising. "What do I tell them?" Luc asked. "About what I did. The truth," Claire said. "You survived. You need them to help you become Luc again, not a soldier." The next morning, Claire watched 289 boys board trucks. Luc waved, a small gesture heavy with promise. The camp felt hollow without them. "They're safe," Isabel said. "They're going home." "I'm scared," Claire admitted, "that France won't know how to help them." "Then we write," Isabel said. "We stay connected through Red Cross. When we go home, we find them." 2 months later, a letter arrived from Luc. "Dear Claire, I'm with Maman and Papa in Toulouse. We cry a lot, but we're together. I'm in a school for boys like me. We're learning to be kids again. You saved me. not just by finding me, but by showing me survival isn't shame. Thank you for being my cousin, for not giving up. Love, Luke." Claire tucked the letter away, her heart full. Luke was alive. He was healing. Against all odds, they'd survived. Someday, she'd go home, find him, rebuild together. They'd remember when enemies showed more kindness than their own leaders. The war was over. The children were safe. That was enough.